and gentlemen, welcome to Zaftra Africa's newest segment, Voice of Africa, where we present to you various topics for discussion. So today's topic for discussion is on the imbalance of priorities among African leaders. To invest or to put on hold? This is a question many Africans ask themselves as their leaders go on to invest in a particular sector of the government. Tonight we have guests Frank from Cameroon and Michael from Nigeria. So Frank, what's your take on this, the imbalance of priorities among African leaders?
Thank you, Genia, for your invitation. Let me greet your viewers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My take, like the world is moving today, is clearly like Africa is the most poor continent in the world, and not because we do not have a resource or we don't have money, but because of I would say, a lack of priority about governance. And our leaders, I think the real problem of Africa by now, they invest on things that we really do not need.
Could you mention some examples of those investments they put in the wrong sector?
Yeah, actually, I will talk about a special case like my country,
Cameroon.
I'm from Cameroon, and we lack a great hospital, we lack a great university, and that's the place where the world today. Today we are living in Russia, or we are in Europe. When we try to see how other countries are moving, and you comparing to your country, is like, yeah, you are not sharing the same world. As I was 3 years ago, I was in Cameroon. At university, you can have 5,000 people in one class. I would say classroom like that.
Wow.
Because by that kind of stuff, a student cannot give out the best of him, and that's our leaders should understand that to have a great country, for the country to grow, they need to invest on education, especially.
So you think the first priority should be education?
Education, education, health, and maybe transport, because as usual we say, when you have road, at least you have the development.
Yes.
So that's my take
on the situation.
Yeah, on the situation now. Our leaders should invest on education, road infrastructure, and health.
And Michael, what do you think? How is the situation in Nigeria?
I buy through to his idea about education. He's talking about a segment where the government see to the education system in Cameroon, not just in Cameroon, also in Nigeria, in the whole of Africa. That's why we're here today. I want to bring to notice that in Africa, we claim we have leaders. We don't have leaders, we have rulers in Africa.
Exactly.
This is a
So what is the difference between a leader and a ruler?
Thank you.
What do you think?
The difference between a leader and a ruler, like a straight sense, a leader leads, but a ruler, he wants to dominate. He wants to be the dominating figure with his people. Now, based on the topic, not diverting from the topic, we're talking about the imbalance,
of
misplaced priorities of African leaders. I'll look at the health sector. Let's take it to the health system in Africa. My brother here, Frank, he made a mention of, he said, Africa being the poorest country, being the poorest continent in the world. Yes, in stats shows that we are the poorest continent in the world right now.
But actually, in reality, we have a lot of rich resources,
we have rich
gold,
resources, and these resources and these resources are not being managed properly. You get me? They are not being managed properly. They are being managed by rulers, not leaders. Leaders need to see what's happening. Needs to understand what's happening in the country. Take for example the health sector in Nigeria, for example. Can you imagine a sector, a person calls himself a leader, but he doesn't like this priority in his country. Health is not even a priority for him in his country. Why? Why is health not a priority? Why should you leave your country to another continent, not even within Africa, not even within the space of Africa. You leave your continent to another continent to seek better health, where you can, develop your country. You can make it better.
Yes.
I think these are the misplaced priorities we have in Africa of today.
So you think the health sector needs more focus?
Needs more focus.
More focus.
And not just the health sector. You see, governance is a thing that has to do with a lot of complicacy, that has to do with, ups and downs, and sometimes we blame our government, sometimes we blame our leaders. We say, this government is so bad, it's not doing anything. Let's look at it in this angle. This is a country where you have millions and millions of citizens, and it's been, governed by just one person. You shouldn't put all the blame on him. Let's take, we as citizens,
we as people, what are we
doing? Exactly. What are we doing? What can we do to make the continent, the country, a better place, a conducive place? You can tell me that election in your country is coming up soon, and what are the stances? What have you thought? Like, what can I do as an elite? You see, take for Nigeria, for example, in the entertainment world, in the entertainment figure, we hold a very, very, very large amount of, production in the entertainment. We're talking about Nollywoods and music wise.
Yes, Nigerian movies are very widespread.
Yeah, exactly.
In Africa.
These are mediums. These are, areas we can, as a people come together and share minds and share like this is a problem. Our government. Most people in the country right now, they don't know what's happening in the country. This is too bad. This is a problem, I think.
Yes.
That
first they need to define the problems and then the solution to it.
The solution.
So Frank, what do you think? In Cameroon, are there any propositions by the government or by the people to improve on the...
I will directly say no. I will say no because, as you say, in Africa we have rulers and not leaders. But the word you just explain was the leaders and rulers. When you see a person ruling the country for 30 years, and at some moment, he gives the best of him, but when he stays there, he thinks that he's the only person who can lead the country, who can rule the country. That's not good. A leader should be somebody who thinks above the rest of people. Like, to be a leader, you have to have a long vision about if, example, as a president, you have to see what will be what you want in the next 7 years or the next 5 years. And in Africa, our leaders, they don't know the priority. They misunderstand the concept of being a leader. I will come back about education because that's where I love being.
So that's the sector you think it should be focused on first. So he was saying about health, for example, and yours is education.
Let's take an example. Where we are living today, you have 50 students, one teacher, right? In my country, you have 200 students, one teacher. How can a single person, how can an educator manage to give the best of him to 200 people in the hall?
You've made a point.
Yeah, that's really difficult. Even if he want to cut himself to give everything he has, but 200 is too much. Like at least 50, 30, that can be, he can manage.
But do you think it's because of lack of maybe personnel? Maybe people are not willing to go, maybe due to low salary, something like this?
Look, when you seek something good, right, you have to invest. I will shift a little bit. When you see an entrepreneur, when you got an idea, he put everything he has on that idea to get something great, like for people to appreciate. If you want your country to be developed, you have to put the necessary means to get that to that point. And education, when you have a great school, you can have a good IT engineers, you can have a great aviation engineers, you can have a great doctors. But if you have poor educational system, at least in Africa we don't have yet, we still use colonial system. I don't think we are still far away to be better with the leadership we have now. So as education, for me, I think should be one of the priority in Africa. Zimbabwe, that's a country you don't understood. The rate of education is almost 90%. They really
Is
know
it
what.
higher than Cameroon?
Yeah, actually, yeah. In my country, it's 82, but in Zimbabwe, it's 98. 98%. So they know what they want. When you have an educated citizen, you don't have to do much for him to understand. He know what he has to do to impose
His responsibility to the country.
to the country.
Okay.
Exactly. And
Point.
moving to that point and seeing about transportation. Today we work. Time is money. In some country, in some place in Africa, especially my country, to move like 5 kilometers, to move from a point A to point B, distance 5 kilometers, you can make at least 1 hour or 2 hours. How can you be effective with that kind of roads, bad roads? No, actually no. You have take example villages. To move from a village A to a village B to send your stuff, you have to go there. Like you have to move. You have to spend 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe a days.
So in this sense, time is money. So when you have bad roads, you can't deliver on time, and it causes problems. Is it the same in Nigeria?
Yeah. First, before I go into transportation, about that, I think this is a major problem in Africa, transportation. But I want to make a point. He was talking about education. He was saying something about when a certain amount of people is being educated, then there's a certain amount of reasoning. Everyone sees reasons the same way. That brings me to one problem in Africa. You're hearing this for the first time, probably for me, that one of the problems in Africa is our mentality. The African mentality
of people.
It has to change. There's no way a mentality we have right now today will move Africa forward. There's no way.
So you think the mentality is stagnant? It's
stagnant,
not moving forward.
Nothing is like, we have a certain mentality that this certain person has to lead us. We have the mentality that if they don't do it, we won't do it. We have this mentality that if he doesn't speak for us, we don't care. You can talk, I can talk.
So you think the people lack confidence to come out?
We lack confidence. That's when education now brands everything.
No, actually, I will go against that because our leaders, they feel comfortable with that kind of stuff because they feel when you have an educated citizen, right? You at some point you cannot do some stuff because they know what they want and they know what they're looking for. But
that's why it's a misplaced priority.
With the leadership, with the current leadership we have now, there are a lot of people who doesn't think, who do not think. They love those kind of people because they will never ask about how they're leading the country. They will say, okay, we will pray, God will help us. That's how.
So you mean maybe some level of ignorance exists among the people?
Exactly.
Maybe they're not being well informed about this.
By the way, I will say thank you to you guys, Zafra Africa, because you are giving an opportunity to the new leadership of African living abroad to really understand the challenge we are going through. So
so it's our duty as Africans to speak about these problems and come together and find a solution.
Only African can see solution for only African people can see the exact solution what African people need. So you read in us, and we have to do that. And I appreciate your channel, South Africa.
Thank you very much. So, Michael, what do you think should be the next step to overcome this issue? How should leaders put priorities? How do you think they should list them? Who should help? Maybe should it be in a form of voting? Who qualifies one priority to be above the other? What do you think?
If you bring in voting and election to the platform, it makes no sense.
I mean, maybe referendum, something like referendum. You know, sometimes some people may think priority should be given to education over health. Some think health should come first before education, in this sense, so that maybe the government can look at the problems people are facing.
I think eventually, at the end of the day, every sector has to be touched at the end of the day. But we have to start from somewhere. We have to start from our leadership. What way forward? What way do they think they can, take the country from point A to point B? Because at this point, we are stagnant. We're never moving. So, if we realize this, and true leader, a true leader can step into power. Like he said, in his country, sorry to say, like they've been, the president has been there for a long time, for a very long time, and we say we're practicing democracy.
To be precise, 36 years, and he's looking for he's going to 42 actually.
And we're practicing democracy. What's democracy? A government for the people.
Yes, and of the people, by the people, said by Abraham Lincoln.
Now, if we're having this kind of mentality that I want to be in power for this long, I don't mean to be harmful. I want to be powerful for this long. And for the past 30, 40, 50 years, and nothing has changed, nothing has happened. Why don't we think we need change of that government?
So finally people should wake up and
we should wake up.
Call the problem as it is.
Like, exactly. To see the problem.
As it is.
The problem is it's there. We can see it. It's not we seeing it. It's how to change this. This stance, I feel.
Do you think the youth of the country can help?
Exactly.
So how do you think the youth can start to draw the government leaders' attention?
Since I was a little boy, I'm still a boy. Since I was a little boy, I always listened to this. They said, "We are the leaders of tomorrow. The youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. The tomorrow never comes." In government, we're still being ruled by some individuals that are 70, 80 plus. If we want to take over the world, we have to start doing. We have to.
So you think the youth should take over, and also maybe the government leaders should be maybe from our generation with modern kind of thinking.
Exactly,
mindset.
with the modern kind of thinking, with the right energy, with the right mindset to know, because they feel okay. Other words, as a youth, you always like you're in competition with people.
Yes.
You get me? You're in competition with people. When you look around you that this country is moving forward, this country is doing better, and my country is, still in the same position, they feel challenged.
Yes.
We feel challenged as youth.
And there's competition who can do better.
And that's why this is After Africa. I'm very glad, I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy that it's been created, and it's a platform that we feel will do better in the future. We have to stand up as youth. As they have said, we are the leaders of tomorrow. It won't die. That statement will not die. We are the leaders of tomorrow, and the leaders will become of tomorrow. We have to start taking matters into our hands to see that this vision, we have the vision.
So we need to build a strong foundation.
A strong foundation.
I agree
Exactly.
with you.
That's what I feel.
Okay, and Frank, do you have anything to add before we go on a commercial break?
I add also as a second point, a second priority where African leaders need to put a lot of money, a lot of efforts about agriculture. Today China, when you look back 20 years ago, China were at the same level with some African country, and today China is almost the third superpower in the world. Not because they are smarter than others, because they know really what they need. In Africa now, our leaders, as I said before, education, and then I will say agriculture. We need to feed our people. We need to feed our people, and our leaders need to also have to invest in agriculture to be, I will say, everybody in Africa should eat at the level you want, because if you are hungry, you cannot give out the best of you.
Yes.
If you are hungry, you cannot think rightly. You cannot be focused. If you are hungry, everything you do will be you'll be stressful. That's the point. We need to invest in agriculture. Try to export our stuff, our food, to be also competitive. When you have enough food, you can challenge other people. You can give them the food, and they will give you back some of that stuff. So that's the point where you have to.
I want to come in when he
add something.
Yeah, when he talked about agriculture, I remember my country, because then years back, maybe a couple of decades back, we were relying on agriculture as a source of exportation and importation. To make the country economy blossom. But along the line, petroleum came. Petroleum has always been there, but it became the major number one thing.
Yes, and there was even a point when Nigeria was the leading economy in West Africa.
No. You take, for example, that agriculture, we just abandoned it. It's abandoned right now. No one is looking at agriculture. They are all pouncing on the petroleum. They're pouncing on petroleum, and very soon, if you don't think of other resources to make the economy grow, you'll be stuck behind. You'll be left behind. So that's why I feel that relating this issue with the topic is a misplaced priority by African leaders.
That's quite a point. It's true. Okay, guys, viewers, please stay with us. We'll be back very soon. We're going on a commercial break. It's after Africa TV, the pride of the continent. Welcome back, guys. Back to our topic, imbalance of priorities. Michael, do you have anything to add as we round up the program?
Yeah, I feel we've touched just a bit of the problems we're facing, that we've seen. Then the question would always be, what can we do? It would always be the question.
What can we do as the youth of our nation?
Yeah, every youth will always, okay, we've seen this. We know the problem. What can we do to, I feel, keep on fighting. Keep on doing the right thing. If we keep on voicing out that we know that this is the problem, we know already that this is what is affecting us, and we are ready to speak out, and we are ready to voice out as youths.
So we want to be heard.
We want to be heard. Exactly. That's why this platform is, and that's why I think this is why the platform will always continue to be, that we want our voices to be heard.
Yes, the voice of Africa.
We know there have been a lot of complaints. We know there have been a lot of voices that have been ignored. We know, but if we keep on, persistency is key. You cannot say we want this to be better and that's Compton mentality again. We cannot say we want the country to be better and then we go to sleep. It wouldn't work like that.
Action must be taken.
And persistency. We have to keep on doing the right thing. That's what I have
Persistence
to say.
and consistency.
We have to be consistent. And that's what.
Frank, what do you think?
First, I'm agree with what he's saying, but first of all, I will call in order our leader. Not in order, but I'm making a request. Dear leaders, you have to follow how the world is going. Africa should not be always at the end at the bottom. We have to move forward, and to the younger generation, we have to put some effort. We have to give for those living abroad, they have to bring back home technology, what they got, what they learned from abroad, and try to implement it in the country.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and also, dear leaders, you have to give chance to young people to show you what they're capable of, because as a young guy like me, soon I'll be a pilot or engineer.
That's what you said a chance has to be given. But where's the root to the chance? How can your chance be given if you don't voice out, if you don't keep on doing the same thing? That's why persistence. Yes. You say you don't agree with that, but I think that's a key point.
Actually,
you have to be persistent.
Actually,
for your voice to be
heard.
South Africa is trying to speak out,
exactly.
And through South Africa, I hope our leaders will understand what we are saying.
Exactly.
And the youth, please. Don't wait for your leader to start. You have to start something to make your leader understand where, because we are a fan of ITC. We know what's going around the world more than leaders because they're old. So we have to bring them to order. Say, Mr. President, maybe from your family, say this is how I saw this in China today. Why not having that kind of stuff here in Cameroon or in Nigeria, in South Africa? So we have to invest education first of all, like I said, health and agriculture. We have to produce enough food for us because when you are hungry, you cannot be focused. You cannot be, you cannot give the best of you can. Like that's really our leaders. Please, Mr. Leaders, I appreciate Ghana. Example, Ghana. Ghana was a country. 5-10 years ago, Ghana was very. I don't want to say how it was, but today
we can see some improvement.
Yeah, they're improving. They're having their own military staff. That So for leaders, please, you have to listen to the youth. You have to take in consideration what they are proposing to you. They are offering to you. I will take also another example in Cameroon. We have a gentleman. It's called Churchimambe. He's a great entrepreneur. He has a lot of stuff. He's proposing a lot of things. I think those kind of they are genius. They know what Africa need. They know how we can move forward.
So we will need more people like this. Okay.
Yeah.
So your point has been made. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, at the end of our discussion, I think we've come to realize that education and health should be one of the top priorities of our country's leaders. So we call upon the youth to arise and to voice out their opinions so that action can be taken. So thank you very much for your time, Michael.
Yeah, great to be here.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Zenia.
And thank you, dear viewers. Please stay tuned for more. It's After Africa, the pride of the continent.